This is a 25-inch waistband that's going to go around the top of the briefs. Typically, I make it 1.5 inches smaller than their measurements because obviously it has to be tight fitting. Okay, so let's say this person had a high hip measurement of 27. This is 25.5 inches. Okay.
Sure, I can.
Okay, so I'm doing it just like the strap. I'm just going to serge.
Wait, hold on.
This onto my. I already cut out my piece of fabric for the waistband. And again, you don't want to cut into the elastic with the cutter. Just make sure you're just cutting the lycra. I hate this kind of elastic, so don't buy this kind of elastic. That's why I'm using it for this.
I was looking at it thinking, oh,
it's so
that's interesting.
So Lisa, did you hear that? Don't buy
Because
that kind and use that kind of
You
elastic.
can see it through the
Okay. So we all know not to use that
my
elastic.
throwaway elastic. Okay.
Just throwaway
So
elastic?
then I have my little cheat things over here too.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let's take a picture of the cheat things.
Okay.
How did you diagram that cheat thing? Like, what made you put the marking
because
there?
I know from just making so many waistbands that I need this to be cut, like right there. So I already
You already lined it up.
determined
Okay,
that
perfect.
from
Just so we can make
previous
cheat sheets on Lisa's and yours.
2.5 inches, about 2.5 inches.
About 2.5 inches, okay. Sorry, we're just not real smart at this.
And again, I just kind of keep my eye over here. You said 2.5 inches, right? And I try to, straighten everything out. Okay, so this is the only thing that's different with this than with the strap. Before I fold it over and sew it,
Wait, you do what?
before I fold this all over to sew it,
Because you do the fold over sew up.
I need to make it a waistband. So I line up my elastic. You can trim this so it's easier, obviously. That's what I do. And I mean, if you want to, you can research that because I had to pull it out, but I'm not going to because this is just practice.
No, because you're just doing a sample. It's fine.
I mean, you technically don't even need to search this. I just do it to really just to cut it, so it's a nice clean edge.
Cut it and make it.
And this part, you really have to make sure that it's. Sorry, let's start with the elastic.
I was thinking that.
You just have to make sure that it's really even and lined up, because then your waistband's all screwed up. If it's like that, then your waistband's going to be all screwed up. So you have to really make sure that this is even up here.
So let me ask this. When you're doing this, is this any difference of a dial? Because remember Lisa was saying something that she didn't have those dials or something on hers?
I don't change anything. I don't change anything, and it's,
Okay.
totally stretchable. Okay, so next step is to go to the sewing machine.
You're saying you don't change anything different from
My normal searching.
your normal serging. Okay.
And I don't know, maybe I should, but I never do.
No, that's fine.
And this is black, but it's fine.
Yeah, we don't care about the redwood as long as we know.
Okay, so then this part, it's kind of bulky. Sometimes I trim it down, like this is just bad elastic. I'm not going to, right? Well, I will, because then it's not going to line up. Thank you. I like to trim it down because if I don't, just don't cut through this actual sewing.
Okay.
Because this is too big when I'm folding this over. And it's kind of like the strap idea, right? Where I'm going to...
Oh, you have a straight stitch on your sewing machine, or your...
Yep. And again, this I kind of even pull, I have to pull more than the straps even, you know, just because it is a waistband. And it's going to be stretched and you don't want the threads to break.
And you tilt it a little bit like that.
Turn it just a little bit just to keep it nice and snug. And this happens. You just kind of have to keep pushing it down.
So what's the reason for you to turn it again?
To keep it so it doesn't, because if you don't, you mean like turn it like this?
Yeah.
It just keeps it nice and snug against the elastic.
Okay.
Like if I'm just going like this starts to slip.
Oh, okay.
And the next thing you know, you're sewing and then you're not even on the elastic anymore.
Got it.
This is really not good. Sorry.
Just like elastic.
Oops. Hate when I do that. I try to keep the needle on it and didn't. Okay. And this part you have to really, this part is the tricky part. You have to make sure that, see this look right here? You just have to make sure that it's still, you're folding it over straight across and you're not starting to pull it down like this, okay?
Otherwise you'll get that wrinkles.
Yep. And that, I can't tell you how many waistbands I've had to redo because it just happens. This Lycra is 4-way stretch and it's a little bit tricky to work with. If it's really stretchy Lycra,
That makes sense, yeah.
It's harder.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to sew this other thing yet because I'm going to attach it to the briefs and you don't want all these.
Okay.
Right.
Let's get a pair of those.
Here, I got them right here.
I'm apologizing to the mannequin.
She runs
And
back.
oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
We're videos. The mannequin, she's apologizing because she bumped into the mannequin.
That's okay. I was touching her nipples earlier.
Great, Lisa's good thing. Long story, Lisa.
So, this is how I attach. First thing you do is you want to line up the back seams as best you can. I mean, sometimes you look at some of my stuff and it's not that great. And this is when you just have to start pinning. The first pin I put this direction because I need it. You'll see when you pin, it's just too hard like this. And I'm going to pin the waistband. So, I mean, this part is not always pretty either. Sometimes it's up in the middle. You've seen my work. The most important part is that at least you're catching like a good ½ inch of the briefs. And then you're going to be sewing actually on the, I like to sew, from on the top. Okay? Because you don't want to mess up this, you can't see it underneath.
Yes.
So you have to sew on top. So just make sure that you got it pinned, okay? Because you're not going to be able to look on the other side. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No. These don't really fit these briefs that great, but we'll cheat.
Is it these briefs?
Maybe this was other briefs. Let me see those.
Yeah, because they're 2 different size briefs.
I think I must have done it to these. And this is the part where if it doesn't match the briefs, something's wrong. It has to match, be the same size as the briefs. So either you need to make the waistband smaller or the briefs bigger, or sometimes if the briefs are good down here, I sew it up a bit on the edge, because if it doesn't all lay flat with the waistband, it looks horrible. I mean, it just has to match, bottom line. Yeah, these are the ones I did. Okay. You can pin how you want, but I like to put one in the front, and then one in the back, and then one in the front, so that nothing really moves around. And then I put
one on each side seam.
Mm-hmm. And the trick here is really the pinning. If you can just pin it really well, sewing it's just really easy, the easy part. Now this gets obviously more tricky when you got a skirt attached to the waistband. It's a lot of layers.
So let me ask this. When you attach the skirt to the waistband, where are you attaching the skirt?
You know what? I just pinned this wrong.
But like if you're doing the...
Yeah. Then okay, so if we had let's take this out. If I had a skirt, I would just pin the skirt first to the waistband.
So you pin it.
Unfortunately, you have to sew over one of the, you're going to have to be sewed twice.
Okay.
Okay.
So you attach the skirt to the waistband, and that's all hooked as one piece.
Yes, and then I slide the skirt and the waistband over the briefs and pin all those layers together.
Okay, and why did you just pin that wrong? Like I didn't see anything
because
wrong with
I don't have a skirt on this, and I don't want to sew over this twice and then have to go back and sew that. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, you want to keep it as neat looking as possible.
Got it.
I mean, with the skirt attached, there is going to be two.
And you don't do zigzag; you just do straight line.
I just do straight line. I pull it though. I pull it ever so slightly. You can do zigzag, especially dark colors. I mean, sometimes I do, just because it stretches better.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to, no. It just looks neater if it's on a light color like this.
Without the zigzag,
it
that's
just
what
doesn't
we
look
think.
as neat. But it's fine. I mean, a lot of people just put rhinestones on it. I mean, it all depends on how particular about that.
No, we like the straight stitch. We're trying to figure that out. So you're not putting the briefs all the way up to the top. You're only putting it
right, because it won't
part
look,
way.
Right, it'll look funny.
So when you attached the skirt to the waistband, did you sew it to the waistband or you just pinned it?
I sewed it.
Okay, so you pin it and you sew it to the waistband so it's actually sewn on the waistband. Then you'll take that and sew it onto the briefs. So it's actually, okay.
It's easier for me. I mean, Lisa might be able to do it where she's just pinning the whole thing and doing one time. It's just some of the skirts are just kind of tricky, and
Too much.
I'd rather do it, especially like the chiffon.
So when you do fabrics that don't stretch, what do you do with the non-stretch fabrics? How do you make that so they can still get it over?
A little bit gathered.
Just a tiny bit of gathering, just a teeny bit. You keep gathering a little.
And again, when I gather it and I pull the elastic waistband.
So a little bit of gather and a little bit of pull, a little bit gather and a little pull. Okay.
Now this isn't fitting this really well either.
It's okay.